Well, hello, everybody. My name is Nicole Curtis. I'm part of the leadership team at She Rises Studios, and I'm the crazy chicken lady. Hello. And I am joined by this powerhouse couple. And I tell you what, I say that these ladies and gentlemen right here are powerhouse couple because are they have hearts of gold. They're on a mission. They have purpose to help you in your business and in your life, but more importantly, in your relationships. So, hello, Lisa. Hello, Jesse. How are you?
We are doing well, and and we love that introduction that you just made. That was beautiful. That was extravagant. That was exactly as we wrote it.
Oh, really? Oh, well, awesome.
Did you write that?
No, we didn't. Well, what I did want to say is to those folks that are tuning in, and you may be just tuning in, we value and appreciate everything you said, and it's true. But more importantly, and whomever we're connecting with in this conversation, they would know anyway. But we choose to say that we elect to walk the talk.
Mm.
We don't just talk, and we don't just
Walk.
walk. Right.
We walk
because
the talk.
we want to be genuine and authentic. What's the point of showcasing or putting out there that you're there to help people, and you have all this infinite wisdom and you don't follow any of it?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that are have bright lights and strong intelligence, and they'll say, as a friend of mine, he was a client, but he used to say to me, "I like your coaching style. You don't just say do this, do that, do this, and you'll get there." No, I'm not going to do it that way. We want to be very authentic with whom we're speaking with and whom we're connecting with.
I love that.
Because after all, it's all about how you leave them feeling.
I just love that title. So today's conversation is going to be centered around your book, How You Leave Them Feeling, Your Ultimate Key to Personal and Professional, or no, I'm sorry, Inspiring Love and Relationships.
And that's okay because we have the other one too.
It's Monday. And I'm really excited to dive into all the things about this book. So first, if no one that has joined us thus far or is going to catch the replay have been introduced to you, I would really love it if you both could share a little bit about what inspired you to write this book and what do you hope your readers will take away from it. Before I dive into all the monster questions that are centered around what this book is, some key points of this book, and then I also am going to pick your brain because I'm really intrigued about a couple things throughout the process of writing the book that I really think is valuable information for our viewers to hear from you. So, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, it was April of 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020, right? We were sitting at dinner with some friends, and they're like, you guys, the world is freaked out right now.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going anywhere. Everyone's, in their home. People don't know how to be together. And you guys have this model relationship, but you are the best kept secret. You need to share those systems, tools, and processes with the world, because if there was any time that they needed it, the time would be right now. And that inspired us, and Jesse and I got busy, and that was really the motivation behind this particular book in the collection.
And we had desired to write it well before that, and we had not really great attempts at it, but some desire to do it and some attempts at it. But when that couple said what they said and the way they said it and the timing, it was a no-brainer. It's like, let's do this, not to rush it, but let's expedite this and stay focused on this, because truly the world could use, like Lisa said, some of these systems or tools or processes literally right now, because the world, in most parts of the world, we're at a different place. And that is, there was infinitely more time being spent with the people in your circle, family or friends or loved ones or whatever, far more than had ever been written in the books. Because usually we are taught to go out and get a job or go out and build a business. And so you're out there doing that. Well, that's 8 to 12 hours a day for a minimum. Right.
Yeah.
So your waking time with those that you've chosen to spend your life with was really quite minimal compared to a 24-hour cycle. So
Yeah.
during the waking hours, people weren't used to spending every single minute right there in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
And they needed tools to really rediscover how to even be with one another and connect with one
And most people didn't have a built-in office. They were using a dining room table with a computer and kids running around in the background, or
Yeah.
dogs and cats living together, and you could hear and see all of this stuff in the background.
Yeah.
And they came to us. It was a time in our business where we were incredibly fortunate in business, because it was at a time where people really needed to learn how to work together and not work in silos, because they were used to having community and being in the office, and now they're at home sitting with a computer at a desk going, what do I do and how do I do this?
Yeah. Well, I love that you touched on it a little bit about systems and processes and different things, because one of the questions I wanted to ask is, in the book, you mentioned self-assessment tools and action steps for readers. Can you discuss the research and development process behind creating these practical tools?
Let's just speak with when you talk about self-assessments. There's quite a number of them out there, and so we're not going to say that the one that we have chose to champion is the only one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have to do the research, because most people wouldn't do the research, but we actually did choose to do it. Actually, the impetus of this happened roughly 15 years ago, thereabouts, where Lisa had this connection of this person that was authority and decision maker inside of the Nevada Department of Public Safety. Basically, the police department is if you break it down, that's what it is. And she wanted a half-day workshop for her team. It was going to be not in Las Vegas, but in another destination. And she had wanted a personality assessment. And when she asked for it, we both believed in them, but we hadn't done one for a signature brand for our company, because we wanted to learn to get to know people based on our skills. Well, that's fine. But if you're serving clients, whether it's a speaking client or a coaching client, you're not doing them a disservice if you're taking a long time to really get to know them. These assessments can do a number of things. Number one, help you understand yourself. Number two, help you understand each other or others. So we actually went out and did some research and discovered what we felt were the top 14 assessments. We didn't take them all at once. We took them one by one, and we took them as though that was going to be the one. And we rated them on how easy it was to take, how easy it was on the pocketbook, how accurate the results were, how much easier it was to remember the dynamics. So many people that take assessments, you ask them, so, oh, by the way, tell me about that assessment you took last year. They don't even remember the name of it.
Yeah.
Or they don't remember their results or anything. But so the color code was one that rose high up. So we took the color code by Dr. Taylor Hartman. And the one thing that's easy to remember is color code focuses on why you do what you do. And
which is so important.
Yes, when you understand why you do what you do, or why others do what they do, you understand them. And that why you do what you do is called DCM, stands for driving core motive. So every one of us has a driving core motive. Your driving core motive is high yellow, girl. You are a high yellow girl, no doubt.
I am. Well, that's sunshine. That's sunshine. So that fits me.
It is. It is sunshine.
Oh, chickens, because they're yellow. So
of course. I already know. You don't even ever waste the money to take the assessment. We already have you paid.
Sweet. What is yellow?
Well, you get 4 different distinctions. Yellows are motivated by fun. Their driving core motive is light, fun, easy,
enthusiastic,
spontaneous. Which you're all of that, right?
You're making me blush.
No, but it's true. It's true. And am I right or not?
Yeah.
You are. In fact, you get this when you take the assessment. It's 45 questions. It takes you about 25 or 30 minutes. You get a pie chart. And the pie chart is whatever the division of your colors are. And there are a few people, but some people don't, or might be minus a particular color. Or some people's color, the biggest piece of the pie may be so big that they become what they call a purist, meaning you don't have a secondary. Typically, the language is, what is your core color and your secondary? Your core is the biggest piece of pie. The next next biggest piece of the pie to that is your secondary.
Oh.
So you are a yellow
Red.
She's a yellow, blue, red, or yellow, red, blue. Meaning, so yellows are motivated by fun.
Yep.
Reds are motivated by execution and getting things done, getting from point A to point Z. Whites are motivated by peace. They do not like conflict or confrontation.
Oh, that's not me.
Yeah, and blues are motivated by intimacy. They like real conversations. And
Well,
they like being understood.
I like that, but that's not my secondary.
We already know you are yellow, red, blue, or yellow, blue, red. Your blues and reds are pretty close, but I think Lisa's right. I think your red is probably just barely outpaces it. So whenever we call it coding someone, whenever we have someone take the color code, we code them. Lisa and I guess what we think that person's colors are, and we're in the high 90 percentile of accuracy. Once they take it, what we've guessed is right at least 95% of the time. Do you know why? Do you know why that is?
Why?
Because we practice this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We code the person at the liquor store, at the gas station, at the grocery store, the person next to you while you're driving down the street and they're behaving kind of awkward or whatever. We code family members and friends and greetings and network marketing and
all of our workshops and trainings.
We literally code. When I say we code them, we don't have them take the assessment. We speculate with what we think their colors are, and we determine by color code standards. There's 4 circles, 4 different quadrants that you can fall in. You could be dysfunctional, unhealthy, healthy, or character. And most people vacillate between 2 or 3 circles or 1 or 2 circles. And so the bottom end is dysfunctional and unhealthy, and the top end is healthy in character.
Well, this sounds a lot more detailed than the book that I read. Man, when I started my personal development self-help journey, probably 17, 18 years ago, I read the book Personality Plus to really help understand myself,
sure,
why I function and what, who I am, why do I function this way? But then also in evaluating other people that come into my space, right? Not just in my, like in my networks, in my community, in work, career, whatever that looked like, but really in my relationship with my spouse. So my husband and I will be married 21 years in September of this year. And it's been quite a journey. And reading that Personality Plus book was one of the reasons why I did it, was because wanting to understand more of him and how he works and how he functions. And then me, because communication, as you both know, is key. Yes. And so when he says something, how am I hearing that? Right? How am I perceiving that? Because communication oftentimes can get skewed and changed and heard and understood incorrectly from what it's been spoken. So
most like a lot of the times, Lisa and I say, to your point, we say it's not just about what you say. More importantly, it's about what they hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check for understanding. If I heard you correctly, I heard you say ABC, and you're like, no, I said AZD.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. No, I love this conversation because one of the things I implement all the time, like even in the She Rises Studios team, with my husband, my kids, is so if I'm hearing you correctly, this is what I heard, right? To really make sure that in that communication, that what they're addressing, what they're saying, that I'm picking it up the way that they're delivering it, because it's so important in communication to come from an understanding of where they're at and what they're saying, because I can just say if I'm having an off day or if I'm all in my feels, right? Someone can say something to me. I think it also goes with emotional intelligence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a direct tie to that. No, there's EQ or EI, whichever you want to call it, emotional intelligence, right? But there's one thing that I think we need to be very mindful, all 3 of us, because you actually are very either studied or native or both, native to these type of concepts, as are the 2 of us. The thing that we're missing is you say all that stuff that you said about the communication, But most people are not hardwired like that, and they're not doing that. Do you know why?
They just they don't know what they don't know.
That's one of it. That's one part. That's true. And funny you should say that, because the color code says once you learn this, then the goal is for you to take 100% responsibility for
Yeah.
all your relationships, because they don't know what they don't know. Exactly. So that's
Mhm.
true. That's big. But can you give me any other reason why you think that is typically not general behavior by most people?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot here, Jesse.
No, no, no. Well, you've already passed the test. If it's a test,
No,
so
no. Um, I think they're not taught it.
we're not taught it, and we're not built that way. Our
Mhm.
biology is for self-preservation.
Yeah. No, that's so true.
We're
That's a
thinking
great
about
point.
we're thinking about ourselves in dialogue. We're thinking when you go to a new room, it's a brand new room, and you don't know anybody in the room. You're thinking about not you, but most people are thinking about how they are showing up, or how they're coming across, or what others may be thinking of them. So
Mhm.
when you're talking to someone, not in this circle, the circle is not doing that. But typically, when you're talking to someone, if I'm talking to Lisa, let's call her Shelly, because Lisa doesn't do that. She's quite the opposite, actually. If I'm talking to Shelly, what is Shelly? What do you think Shelly's thinking right now while I'm talking to her?
What she's gonna say next
That's
is
exactly right. Now, why is she thinking what she's going to say next?
because she has the me and not the we mentality.
Exactly. So if she's doing that, how much of what I'm saying is she actually hearing, percentage wise? Just take a guess.
Like probably 1.2% maybe.
I would say it's probably more like, if let's say on average, it's probably between 50 and 60%. I
Oh,
think
wow.
40 to 60% is completely missed. Like they
Yeah.
don't even hear it,
Yeah.
right? Because they're thinking about what they're going to say, because they want to be measured by how they're showing up and what their contribution is, not what yours is. Now, Lisa is the complete opposite. She is. I've met a couple others, but she is at the top of the spectrum when it comes to listening skills.
Mm.
She's a brilliant listener. I think partly by choice and partly by life circumstance. I'll pass the ball to you. Share with Nicole, why you are such a brilliant listener.
Well, because I came from the era that children were meant to be seen and not heard, and that my
Mm.
my voice didn't matter, and just sit there and observe, and if we want you to say something, we'll ask you, and otherwise just
Mhm.
be quiet. And that was the theme throughout my life until I turned 40 and said, something's got to give, something's got to change. I had lost my voice entirely just from an abusive relationship and being shut down constantly. And
Mhm.
so I just felt that being shut down time after time after time, it was time to do something about that and hire a coach to help me formulate the words so that I could, survive in the business world, which I ended up being in sales. And you've got to say what you know, like, and mean
Yeah.
in meeting, or you're not going to be taken seriously. So
Mhm.
I had to make some drastic changes.
But that's only part of it, Nicole, because and those of you that are listening, and those of you that are listening may fall into the same space that Lisa is, in that it is also inherent in her nature to listen more and say less. Now, that doesn't
Mhm.
mean she doesn't have powerful things to say, but she's going to use far less words, and she's not going to tell it to you 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times. If you and I are having a conversation, you're not getting it, I can tell you 20 different ways the same thing. Lisa's going to give you one way.
One way.
And it's going to be
Well,
clear. It's going to be clear, but she's not going to try to repeat it, 15 different times for you. She's not hardwired that way. So her native nature, being a white on the color code, she can communicate fine, but she's going to do it very modestly. She's not going to be all over the top with her communication in
yeah.
terms of and that. So that's why I say the people that are watching or listening to this program realize many people are not taught, to your point,
Mhm.
how to communicate effectively, and not just communication, effective communication.
Mm.
Effective communication is a volley. It's like a tennis volley.
Yeah.
Getting the ball back and forth and back. The best matches to watch is when they're crushing it, but they're going back and forth and back and forth and back. When someone's slam dunking and beating the hell out of the other person on the other team, that's not a fun match to watch.
Yeah. No.
And you check out. If somebody just
Yep.
keeps talking and
True.
it's a monologue and not a dialogue, you're going to check out of the conversation because it's all about them and it's not engaging you to be a two-way conversation.
Exactly.
No, I love this conversation.
So I think people need to hear that. I think people need to not just hear the best of what we have brought to the table, but what are some of the challenges? Because quite frankly, they're either incurring them in others or in themselves. And they need to know it's pretty normal for people to communicate poorly.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I do have a quick question. Wow, tongue-tied there for a moment. Could you share a personal story or experience that illustrates one of the 5 principles or concepts discussed in the book, particularly focusing on how it relates to the 5 guiding principles for work and relationships?
Lisa came up with one. I like it. I like it. They're all. I don't want to say I have a favorite, but the one she just picked is called house rules. Some people, we know that some people don't like the word rules. They don't want to be governed by a rule. But so we give it a synonymous name, which is agreement. It's either, because at the end of the day, it is an agreement. So Lisa's going to explain as a principle, a great guiding principle. Let me say where the principle came from, then Lisa can share the principle. The principle came from, before I met Lisa, I was in a long-term 25-year relationship. And I learned more at the termination of that relationship in the first 6 months following the termination of the relationship. I learned more about that person in that 6 months than I knew in the whole 25 years. And what came to me was I had a role in that breakdown as well. It's not just all on the other side. So I said, we didn't communicate to share what our wants and needs are or were with for ourselves or the other. So I thought, maybe we need to have that conversation early in a relationship, not never in a relationship. What are the non-negotiables that you have to live in that space with collaborate and cohabitate? What are the non-negotiables that you need to have to live the way you desire to live? I'll toss the ball to Lisa.
And so for me, one of those principles is every morning before I, have a lot of dialogue back and forth together, I need at least an hour of time to just unfold and to come around and to set my daily intentions or my meditations or say my prayers, and then what I'm going to do, how it's going to roll out, get ready. That's kind of my zone to roll out the day. And after that, it's game on. But I need that first hour to just be me time with no one in my face.
And she doesn't want to be challenged, or she doesn't want to get anything too deep. She wants to find her space in the world for that day, based on the true reality of what is the temperature, what is in the air, what's in her mind, what's on her plate, just to kind of gradually say, okay, once she gets past that hour, then it's game on.
It's game on. Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah, and one of my these are non-negotiable. I don't get to say, well, no, I kind of want to talk on Fridays if you don't mind. No, not at all. So if they're not negotiable, that person gets it the way they need it.
Yeah.
And so one of my house rules would be, and again, by the way, the rule is each of you have to have one.
Ooh.
And you cannot have more than 3.
Ooh, I'm loving this.
Yeah.
No more. I'm writing this down. No more than 3.
No more than 3.
I ordered the book. I'm waiting for it.
Okay. No more than 3, and you have to have at least one. Do you know why? That's one of the statutory rules.
I can imagine if you have more than 3, then what is there left?
Fair enough. What about why do you think we're saying each of you have to have at least one?
Well, there has to be some boundary.
That's true, but the other thing is, what if Lisa has 1 and I have none? Now what's happening to?
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
It becomes one-sided, and then it becomes left field, way out in left field.
Yeah.
And the relationship starts to miss things because you're not
synced up.
You're not synced up or dialoguing about the important matters.
You lose the flow.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say that. So that's, and then every 90 days, approximately every 90 days, we like to have a conversation. You get it. You can change out any one or all of your house rules, and get a understanding of how the other person is doing, respecting your house rule.
But that house rule still stays in place. That doesn't mean, like, if I get rid of that hour one and replace it with something else, that doesn't mean that rule is out of play. That rule is always in play, because you're understanding it now, that it's just now how we actually live life.
So what she's saying is, you're not forced into it by any written rule agreement. You have gained the time after time, the sequence of respecting that, so it gets absorbed within you. And to me, it no longer becomes a rule. It becomes a way of being, a way of life. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. It totally makes sense.
Yeah. And so one of my house rules is, don't make me guess. Because oftentimes in intimate relationships, we expect the other person to know what our wants and needs are, even though we don't tell them. And then we build resentment because they're not giving or doing what we want, but you haven't even told them what you want.
They're not mind readers.
Right. So I'm not a mind reader. So if Lisa needs time for herself, for whatever reason, whether it's something to do with the children or her mother or a colleague, a friend, or a client, or me, she doesn't even have to explain it. Yeah. But she needs to say, I've got to take, I need a couple hours. I'm just going to go in the room and shut the door. I just want to take that time for myself, or go for a drive, or go for a walk, or whatever. When she needs time for her own space, take it, but announce it. You don't have to give the full detail, but don't make me wonder, did I say something? Did I do something? No, you don't need to sit around and wonder that. If there's something up, speak about it.
Oh man, this is so funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's just so coincidence. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Happy belated Mother's Day, Lisa, by the way. Thank you. But we had this conversation yesterday morning when I woke up. My husband's like, "It's your day, so what do you want?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Just tell me what you want. What does this day look like? Don't let me guess. Don't make me guess. Don't let me have to try to plan it out, and then you be not what you wanted it to be. Like, just be direct and tell me how you would like the day to look. What would you like to do?" Okay. Because for me, I can, I don't know, sometimes I can just get in that mind of, well, I'll just go with the flow. It's no big deal. Right. Yeah. But when he's actually asking me, this is your day, what do you want it to be? And he said the same thing, Jesse, like, just tell me, like, just be direct. What do you want?
But Nicole, why do you think it is that people either unprompted don't just say it, or he's prompting and you were still struggling a bit on telling him? Yeah. Why do you think people do that? Why?
I think so. For me, I wanted, yes, it's a day supposedly for, me, like, right. It's my day, but I wanted to make sure everybody was included with it. I didn't want them to feel that I didn't want to spend time with them or hang out with them, or if being alone was okay, right, for some time.
How did you answer him?
How did I answer him? I pretty much told him, well, I want to have a couple hours where I want to read a book in peace in my hammock with my chickens outside and not be bothered.
So did you answer him right away?
Well, after he said that, like, just be direct. And I'm like, okay. All right, here we go. So nice. I want a couple hours to read in my hammock with my chickens, around my chickens. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to do any cleaning today. I don't want to be in charge of any food today.
Yeah, nice.
Well, no, but, you could. You were going to say? Would you say but? What's the but?
But I would like to spend time, however that looks like. Either we can go kayaking, or we'll go for a walk as a family, or we'll just do a cookout, or whatever that looks like. But I do want to have time, doing things together. And so I listed some different options, and that's what we kind of rolled with. So it was awesome. I did. Nice. Imagine that.
Right. But you're more on the rare side though, because you were able to come with it. There's some people that couldn't. So if someone is asking, for those that are watching or listening to this, if someone's asking you, like your husband asked you, and you still don't have the answer, what I do with Lisa, I'm not saying she doesn't have the answer, but Lisa, again, as a processor, because of her color code, based on her driving her motive. She likes to process things in her circle of processing and style, not yours. So for something like that, I would say, listen, we haven't decided. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Before we start rolling in from one thing to the next, give some thought to how you would like the day to roll. And I don't have a horse in the race. It doesn't matter to me whether it's going to the movies or connecting with a few people or going out for a bite to eat, whatever it is. Give some thought to that. And then, once you've had a chance to give some thought, let me know. That's a way to let her process and think about it, is not expect it to be an answer on demand.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a I don't do that. I don't take time to process. I just go.
When you say that, Nicole, it's not true. You do take time to process, but you are fast processing.
Yeah.
You process like this. You can flip it. That's why we know you're yellow. Yellows don't spend a lot of time on stuff. They're in and out. They're in and out.
I ain't got time for that.
Nope.
Earlier, you asked us about the exercises in the book, and by popular demand, I am in the middle of writing an interactive companion workbook and journal with all of the exercises contained
That's
in this
so
workbook.
awesome. I love it that it's interactive.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yep.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
So when is that? Do you have an idea of when that's going to release?
Well, hopefully in 90 days.
Oh, wow. That's quick. You guys are a powerhouse couple. I keep saying it. It's so true. I love that. So it goes along with the book.
It does.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The reason why Lisa will tell you her reason. One of the reasons I can see, she may have different reasons, is that inside of the book, we didn't do it on purpose, but because we do this kind of stuff all the time. So we're not thinking about, all the world doesn't do this all the time, but a lot of people that get the book, they realize it's a lot of requests coming at them to do the different exercises to strengthen their relationships. And it didn't really seem like a lot when we did it, but now that I look back at it, when I look at it from another person's perspective, it is quite a load when you're not used to doing that kind of stuff on a daily basis. So Lisa's doing this is actually going to make it manufacture it to be much easier for people to do the different exercises, because now you got a place to drop right into it and coordinate with the book and whatever that exercise is.
Yeah. Well, that actually leads me to my question I was going to ask you is, are there any certain challenges or obstacles that the readers might encounter when trying to implement the book's recommendations, and how do you suggest they overcome them? Because speaking from a standpoint of not this circle, right, but people that are watching this or are going to be watching this potentially can have that overload feeling of, oh my goodness, this is a lot, but it's important at the same time. So what do you suggest of how they can overcome it, or some key things that you might think that they could be challenged on?
They can certainly email us if they have any questions or they get
I
stuck.
love that.
But there are some spreadsheets.
Oh,
and
neat.
if you are not a spreadsheet person, you may have difficulty doing like what matters most, defining your values and roles.
What Lisa's saying, well, we'll finish your point on there are spreadsheets, and Lisa doesn't mean to be negative about it, but the way she's saying it, I realize not everyone wants to navigate through a spreadsheet, but typically I think more people may have time building spreadsheets than reading. Spreadsheets are simple and straightforward and easy. That's why they became so popular, because it helps you tell the story. So you want to finish telling them how they can get the resource to help them.
So the resource is available on our website, justtalk.com. You can go download that working document so that you can fill in the blanks, and then it'll calculate on its own, correct?
So what you'll get is you're going to get an example of whatever it is we're saying, how it works, a live example. And even within that, there's a blank sheet for you to mimic what you just resembled. So that's that. So that makes it so that you could figure it out. just by looking at the example and just
Yeah.
duplicating it, but customize it to fit your life and your wants, your needs, and your answers, and just follow the pattern. The other one, to Lisa's point, is if they were to reach out to Lisa or myself and say, "Listen, I've read the book, I love it, I've done, but I'm stuck. I don't know how to pull all this together." Then we would find a way to either communicate directly like that or do it like a 15-minute drive-by and answer the questions.
Drive by.
Yeah.
I love that. You two are amazing. There's just the support and the encouragement and just wanting to serve and to help. Like you both have such servant hearts that I absolutely adore both of you with that. And mentioning that and promoting that and saying that, like if you read it and you need help or if you need just a little bit of a push in a direction so you can, move forward in what you're wanting to create and establish and build, it's amazing. You guys are awesome.
Well, it's interesting to hear you even say that because before this, let's back up a number of years. The first of the How You Leave Them, we call it How You Leave Them Feeling collection, not series, because you don't have to read them in any order. You can read them in any order that they come into you. But this lady had read the first book, How You Leave Them Feeling, and she the story that she ultimately told me was that she was in a rough place in her life, and then she somehow got these 12 books, and then she was going to go to the beach, and she was going to find a way to find. Well, How You Leave Them Feeling was one of those books, and she took these books to the beach, and no one else around her. In fact, when she reached out to me, I thought it was someone playing a joke on me because her name was Onyx Cole. Whose name is Onyx Cole? And that was her real name. And I thought she was someone just playing around, but it was a real person. Well, she was so into it that she signed on to the coaching program, my personal coaching program, because she wanted the author of those books to help her pull it all together. Then when she did that, then she pulled me into her professional life and hired me to do a 700 people in an audience of the program of the company that she worked for to do a keynote for that. It just kept rolling, and all because she picked up the book. And in the time, she said she saw someone, she discovered because she was on a plane and someone was reading the book on the plane, and the title struck her, How You Leave Them Feeling. That's how she discovered the book. Isn't that amazing?
I love it. I love it. So as authors, I'm really curious about this. So this is why I'm asking you. As authors, which chapter in the book resonates with you the most, either collectively or individually? And could you share why it holds particular significance for you?
You want to go first?
There's two I like. I like Living Life by Design and
Building
Unbreakable Relationships, because it's about relationship equity and what you give and do for others and serve, because we're all in service to help others, but in truly, adding equity to other lives. When you actually need something, then it's a good time for you to ask somebody that you've, built a lot of equity with, because everyone wants to help everyone. And so many people have a problem asking for what it is that they want and need in life.
It's true. It's so true. And they don't even have the tools to know how to do that. And I agree with Lisa. Chapter 9, Building Unbreakable Relationships, for very similar reasons to Lisa, is one of mine. And then chapter 10, Turning a Crisis into an Abundance. I like that one a lot too, because it was a major matter in the world happening that most people would. In fact, I've heard some other speakers say they shut down, didn't know what to do when they couldn't get on stage, and that wasn't us. The moment that freeze and that shutdown happened, Lisa and I pulled together. We got into an intimate conversation, not about the pandemic, but about us. Okay, so first off, let's check to see where we're at with everything, not just what's going on in the world, but how are we? So we literally, I think you said it earlier too. You did. You started the program. We checked our attitude. We said, what is our attitude about what's going on internal and what's going on external? We had the conversation. And then we said, well, what do we need to adjust? Obviously, we need to make an adjustment. So we started tweaking what we thought we needed to adjust. And then we said, okay, now we need to figure out how to adapt to those adjustments and not default back to default behavior because it's what we're used to, right? So what do we put in place to help us to adapt to the adjustment? In those three letters, those triple A's, attitude, adjust, adapt. We literally turned our whole world, the pandemic, and that didn't, the fact that we have 50% of our income that we could not get out on the stage, it didn't bother us. We made a shift. We made a shift in a 15-minute conversation.
This is powerful because ideally it's not just in relationships like with your significant other or spouse or kids, but it's also relationships in business or in your career or in the networks or in nonprofit organizations or anybody. I mean, this book is for all of that, which is amazing.
Yeah. So
it's literally like a toolbox for everything.
Right. And you're going to have something in your life that falls off the wagon or falls off the track or explodes or implodes or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You're going to be faced with crisis. Here's what we know. Here's what all three of us and the world knows. Every day that you wake up, you're going to be given something to figure out or work out.
Yep.
And sometimes it's going to be more severe than others, but it's never going to go away. I don't care how successful or how much money you make.
Yeah.
Problems and challenges don't go away because you become wealthy. Sometimes you get more problems if you become very wealthy. Mm-hmm. And then you don't even know who your friends are. Mm-hmm. Your real friends. Are they with you because you can hook them up with money, or are they with you because it's something that, some people have a hard time figuring that out. So that's why turning a crisis into an abundance and the short order of which we did that, which people could duplicate that. It's not rocket scientists what we're sharing. If you follow these steps, you can do the same thing.
I can't wait to read that chapter.
And again, whenever you get the book, you don't have to read chapter 1 through 12. If there's a chapter that you like the title of that chapter, go to that chapter, because you don't have to get 1 to get to 2 to get to 3 and so on.
I love that. That's awesome. Because in most cases you have to, start from this. I love that. Thank you for mentioning that, Lisa. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up here, I would really love it if you both could share what sets this book apart from all other relationship-focused literature or self-help books.
Giving you the tools to go through the obstacle and have hope on the other side.
I don't disagree with Lisa. I think that's an excellent way to say it. I would not have even come with that. I agree with her. I would say in tandem with that, it is 100% authentic. Everything that's shared in there really happened either in our lives or in someone's life. It's a reality-based, authentic compilation of, but it's simple in a way that tells a story and lets you learn along the process. But none of it is manufactured. It's all real.
And we've done each and every one of these exercises and practiced them ourselves. It's not like we're saying, you need to do this to get to here. We have actually implemented all of these in our lives, which is what makes us so strong as a couple in business and personally.
Walk the walk and talk the talk.
Yeah.
We say you got to do the work.
Yeah.
You have to do the work. If you don't do the work, something else will be done for you, and it won't be as beneficial as doing the work.
Oh, I just absolutely. Well, I love this conversation. Thank you so much to both of you for your time today and sharing your knowledge, information, and all the things centered around your book. So if you're watching this or catching the replay, go ahead. It's on Amazon. How You Leave Them Feeling, Your Foundation for Inspiring Love and Relationships. Get the book today. It is on audio as well.
It's on audible.com,
which is awesome.
Which is us reading it too.
No way. Yeah. I actually was gonna ask that off camera, but sweet. That even makes it more authentic. I love that. I love that. Well, thank you both of you so much for your time today. I hope you both have a great rest of your day. And to all of you, you can go ahead on Amazon today, get your book, How You Leave Them Feeling, Your Foundation for Inspiring Love and Relationships. And
if you like it, write a review, please.
Yes, absolutely. Reviews are amazing.
Yes.
And then within 90 days, hopefully, give or take a little bit, right? We're not going to have that committed, but soon you'll be having that workbook in the journal coming out, which I am excited. I'm very excited for that. So,
Yes,
well, thank you
celebrate.
both very, very much. I really appreciate you. Keep being awesome. You're incredible. And
Thanks,
to
Nicole.
everybody, I hope you have a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Bye.
Thanks so
Bye.
much. Thank you.